Imagine waking up to the ground shaking, the sky darkening, and everything you know disappearing beneath a wave of ash. It's not just science fiction. This has happened to real people, in real cities, throughout history. A volcano erupts, and in a single day, the world changes. Streets vanish, cities crumble, and life is forced to begin again on a blank slate of ash. But what's lost isn't always gone forever. Sometimes what a volcano buries, it also saves. A moment of devastation becomes a time capsule for someone centuries later to open. Today, that story begins far from the Mediterranean or the Andes. It begins in the wild, frozen lands of Kamchatka, where the Krasheninnikov volcano has woken from 600 years of sleep. As modern scientists scramble to monitor the ash cloud, satellite images streak across screens, and villages brace for evacuation. But this eruption doesn't just echo the anxieties of the present. It also connects us to a cycle as old as humanity itself. How can the same forces that erase a civilization also preserve its most intimate details? From Pompeii's haunting silence to the icy tombs of Siberia and American towns erased within living memory, volcanoes bind past and present. Yet the greatest secret is still to come. There is a fact about volcanic ash that challenges everything we think we know about disaster, memory, and survival. Stay with us. This is Armchair Archaeology. Here, every eruption is a gateway, not just to the past, but to the questions we still have about our own future. If you love digging into the mysteries of lost worlds and how the past shapes our future, subscribe and join our growing community of curious explorers. There's always another layer waiting to be uncovered. Kamchatka is one of the most volcanically active places on Earth, a peninsula so remote that even today, much of it is accessible only by helicopter or dog sled. Its skyline bristles with more than 60 volcanoes. Many are quietly steaming, while others are simply biding their time. For centuries, Krasheninnikov was just a name on a map. It was an icy, double-peaked guardian watching over a wilderness that has changed little since the last ice age. Indigenous Ivan and Koryak communities tell stories of volcanoes as living spirits, describing them as forces that test and sometimes protect those who know how to listen. This year, after 600 years of silence, Krasheninnikov's eruption forced a new generation to confront the power of the land beneath their feet. Scientists rushed to the area with drones and sensors, using technology to forecast ash clouds and protect lives. These are tools their ancestors could never have imagined. Yet, as satellite images of the eruption circled the globe, a deeper question surfaced. What traces of the present would survive if tomorrow's world was suddenly buried in ash? Past eruptions in Kamchatka have left behind more than just shattered forests. Archaeologists have uncovered the footprints of ancient hunters pressed into volcanic mud, stone blades still sharp after thousands of years, and animal bones scattered around campfires. The ash locked these moments away, as if time itself had hit pause. It's a pattern repeated throughout the peninsula. Disaster strikes, but beneath layers of devastation, fragments of human life endure. Sometimes they are more intact than anything left above ground. For local communities, every eruption is a new chapter in a story that binds ancestors and descendants together. It's a story where memory, myth, and survival are all shaped by the shifting, unpredictable Earth. In Kamchatka, the ground may change overnight, but the traces of life it preserves can last for millennia. By the way, if you want to bring a little piece of ancient mystery to your own morning ritual, we've got something special in our store. The new Ancient Secrets mug, the official Armchair Archaeology edition. It's the perfect companion for late-night research or your next armchair adventure. You'll find it linked at the top of our shop.
Under the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, Pompeii and Herculaneum bustled with the routines of Roman life. Bakers fired ovens before dawn, children played in sunlit courtyards, and merchants filled the streets with noise and color. Vesuvius, green and unthreatening, was part of the backdrop. It was so ordinary that its danger was easy to forget. Few people living there had ever seen it erupt. Their world seemed permanent and secure. Then, without warning, in August 79 AD, the volcano shattered that illusion. Ash and pumice rained from the sky, collapsing roofs and filling the air with choking darkness. As panic swept through the streets, many tried to flee. In the afternoon, a new terror arrived. A wave of superheated gas and ash moved faster than a racing car, rushing down the mountain and sweeping through the cities. Life stopped instantly, but not everything was lost to chaos. Centuries later, when archaeologists began to dig, they uncovered an entire city paused mid-action. Walls still held the colors of vibrant frescoes, graffiti whispered jokes, deaths, and even romantic frustrations. Hollow spaces beneath the ash revealed the final moments of residence. Family members held each other, a dog curled in a collar, and a merchant still clutched his coin purse. In Herculaneum, the heat had even carbonized entire libraries of ancient scrolls. This made it possible for modern scientists to read words hidden for 2,000 years. Today, scientists use 3D scanning and forensic analysis to reconstruct not just how people died, but how they lived. It's a story that resonates. Cities can vanish overnight, yet traces of laughter, art, and love remain, waiting for another age to rediscover them. Pompeii and Herculaneum remind us that even in catastrophe, human stories endure. These ancient ruins are more than snapshots of disaster. They prove that even at the world's worst moments, small details of daily life can outlast empires.
Before the age of Greek philosophers or Roman legions, the island of Thera, what we now call Santorini, was a center of art, trade, and innovation in the Bronze Age world. Akrotiri's narrow streets wound between whitewashed buildings, their walls alive with colorful frescoes. Dolphins leaped above blue seas, saffron gatherers worked, and merchant ships sailed for distant lands. Here, the Minoan culture flourished, connecting the Mediterranean through commerce and creativity. But beneath this vibrant society, the volcano grew restless. Around 1600 BCE, Thera erupted in an explosion so massive it transformed the entire region. The island's center collapsed into the sea, while a cloud of ash reached as far as Egypt. Waves from the eruption battered the coastlines of Crete and beyond, triggering a crisis that would echo through the ancient world. Life in Akrotiri vanished almost overnight, as roofs caved in and streets were entombed in volcanic debris. Yet this catastrophe had an unexpected consequence. When modern archaeologists first tunneled into the ash, they found whole rooms still standing, with furniture arranged as if the owners had just stepped outside. Frescoes kept their original brightness. Pottery remained stacked on shelves, and even wooden beams had survived because the ash had kept moisture at bay. The details are so vivid that some believe the legend of Atlantis, Plato's fabled city lost to the sea, was inspired by Thera's sudden destruction and disappearance. Some even say that Plato's story of Atlantis was inspired by this very eruption. The sudden vanishing of a brilliant civilization beneath the sea left a lasting impression. Today, Akrotiri offers a rare glimpse into a vanished world. Technologies like digital reconstruction let us wander its streets once again, piecing together everyday lives from thousands of years ago. Its story is a reminder. A single eruption can erase a civilization, but the secrets it locks away can challenge what we think we know about myth, memory, and survival. Want to go even deeper into the mysteries behind these buried cities and lost civilizations? Our exclusive ebook, Secrets of the Ancient World, Mysteries, Technologies, and Lost Civilizations, dives into the forgotten stories, mind-bending technologies, and real archaeological puzzles we only touch on here. You'll find the link in the pinned comment if you're ready for more hidden history.
In the spring of 536 AD, something extraordinary and terrifying began to sweep across the world. The sun, once reliable and bright, faded behind a veil of dust so thick that daylight felt more like dusk. Reports from Ireland to China described a year with no real summer. Crops withered in their fields, temperatures plunged, and snow fell in places where it had never been seen before. People struggled to explain the darkness. For many, it felt like the end of the world. Imagine waking up to fields of frost in summer, watching food supplies dwindle, and hearing rumors that the sun itself was dying. What caused this global disaster? It would take scientists centuries to solve the puzzle. Traces of volcanic ash, known as tephra, found deep within layers of ice in Greenland and Antarctica, point to a massive volcanic eruption, or possibly several eruptions that sent clouds of sulfur and ash high into the stratosphere. This veil of debris circled the planet, blocking sunlight and cooling the Earth. In an era without international communication, the world suddenly experienced a shared crisis. Harvests failed, famine spread, and empires weakened or fell. Even today, the impact of this event is visible in the natural world. Growth rings in ancient trees nearly vanish for a decade, clear evidence of stunted growth during years of chill. Archaeologists and climatologists now work together, matching ash layers and tree rings with written chronicles to track the spread of disaster. These collaborations show how a single volcanic event can create global shockwaves, disrupting food systems, economies, and even inspire dark legends about the sun vanishing from the sky. It's a pattern that feels unsettlingly modern. Just like the aftermath of massive wildfires or major volcanic eruptions today, the world in 536 learned that nature can connect us through crisis. In the layers of ash and ice, the silent records of the past still warn us. One eruption can change everything.
The 19th century brought eruptions so colossal that their echoes are still felt around the world today. In 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia exploded with a force unmatched in recorded history, blasting a column of ash 40 kilometers into the sky. The shock was heard nearly 2,000 kilometers away. In the months that followed, a mysterious chill settled over the globe. The year 1816 became infamous as the year without a summer. Snow fell in June from North America to Europe. Crops failed, food prices soared, and hunger haunted millions, even in countries untouched by the eruption itself. But the impact was not only hardship. In Switzerland, where rain and cold kept even poets indoors, a group of writers, including Mary Shelley, passed a sunless summer telling ghost stories. In the shadow of Tambora's distant eruption, Shelley began a novel about creation and disaster, Frankenstein. It's a reminder that even disasters can inspire human creativity. Sometimes, history's darkest years lead to its brightest ideas. Meanwhile, painters like J.M.W. Turner captured strange, blood-red sunsets colored by volcanic ash drifting high above the clouds. Even people far from Indonesia found their lives and imaginations altered by events they could not see. Just decades later, Krakatoa erupted in 1883. Its explosion produced the loudest sound ever recorded and triggered tsunamis that devastated coastlines, destroying villages and taking tens of thousands of lives. Ash from the eruption circled the globe, changing sunsets for years. Newspapers reported bizarre weather and mysterious atmospheric effects. For the first time, people could read eyewitness accounts from across the world within days, connecting communities in a shared experience of awe and vulnerability. Volcanoes like Tambora and Krakatoa reveal how quickly nature can reshape society, culture, and even the arts. Their legacies persist in literature, in paintings, and in the stories we still tell about a world suddenly changed by fire and ash.
If you're enjoying these "wow, I never knew that" moments, consider hitting the super thanks button. Your support helps us unearth more untold stories and bring forgotten worlds back into the light.
In Siberia's endless tundra, the seasons turn on a knife edge. For most of the year, the ground is locked in permafrost, a barrier so unyielding that even the roots of trees find little purchase. When volcanoes erupt here, Their ash settles in thin gray layers. Often it goes unnoticed at first, but in combination with the cold, it creates a natural, safe deposit box. Air and moisture are sealed out, and what lies beneath is preserved as if nature itself pressed pause. Beneath these layers, archaeologists sometimes encounter the remains of a world that should have vanished long ago. A campfire ring, still encircled by ancient stones. Wooden sleds, bone tools, and woven baskets are all spared from rot by the combined grip of ice and ash. In burial mounds, faces of the past reappear. Skin still holds traces of tattoo ink, hair is arranged just as it was centuries before, and burial garments keep their colors after a long, frozen sleep. Some discoveries almost seem to resist time entirely. The body of a young woman buried over 2,000 years ago was found with embroidered dress, jewelry, and elaborate tattoos, still vivid after centuries underground. Mammoth remains appear, with fur and even stomach contents preserved as silent witnesses to vanished climates and vanished peoples. One woolly mammoth was so well preserved that scientists found liquid blood inside. This is proof that volcanic ash and ice can freeze time better than any museum. Here, every detail can be a revelation. The last meal, the tools of daily life, a story told in stitches and symbols. In this land, disaster is both an ending and a beginning. Permafrost and ash do what no museum can. They guard the fragile traces of existence, connecting ancient Siberians to the world we know now, and reminding us that some secrets survive only where nature conspires to keep them.
In the Americas, the stories of volcanic destruction aren't just ancient echoes. They're often within living memory. Whole communities have watched as familiar landscapes transformed overnight, turning ordinary places into modern archaeological mysteries. The experience is both deeply personal and powerfully universal. It echoes the suddenness that once doomed places like Pompeii. Mount St. Helens in Washington state erupted in 1980 with a force that stunned scientists and residents alike. Within minutes, forests were flattened, rivers rerouted, and entire lakes erased from maps. Spirit Lake, once a summer resort destination, vanished beneath a churning tide of mud and ash. Those who survived spoke of silence and disorientation, of emerging into a world where landmarks and homes had simply disappeared. Today, hikers stumble across remnants, old foundations, street grids, and children's toys, preserved beneath layers of volcanic debris. In Mexico, the village of Paracutin appeared and disappeared within a single lifetime. Locals still tell the story of Dionisio Pulido, the farmer whose cornfield became the birth site of a volcano. He was an ordinary man witnessing the earth remake itself. In 1943, a farmer watched as his cornfield cracked open, birthing a volcano that would, over 9 years, consume his town. Now, only the stone bell tower of the church rises above the black lava. It stands like a memory made solid, serving as a landmark for future generations and a beacon for archaeologists seeking traces of lost daily life. Chile's Chitan eruption in 2008 forced a full evacuation as ash filled homes and streets, freezing modern life in place for scientists yet to come. These events don't just remind us of ancient disasters, they reveal how little the dynamic between people and volcanoes has changed. Every generation on volcanic land is part of this ongoing cycle. It's a cycle where disaster and resilience are entangled, and where today's neighborhoods might someday be uncovered as tomorrow's archaeological marvels, telling their stories in the language of ruins and remnants. There's so much we can't fit into one video, from vanished American towns to the latest discoveries in the Pacific. If you're hungry for more, the ebook Secrets of the Ancient World uncovers lost places and technologies that will change how you see history. Look for the link in the pinned comment.
Volcanoes don't just bury towns, they remake entire worlds, shifting rivers, creating new lakes, and even redrawing maps. Nowhere is this more evident than in Africa's Great Rift Valley, where volcanic forces have sculpted the landscape for millions of years. Ancient eruptions opened rift valleys and filled basins, forming lakes that would become both barriers and highways for migrating peoples.
Here, the footprints of early humans have been discovered, pressed into layers of volcanic mud and preserved for hundreds of thousands of years. Each step is a reminder that human journeys across continents and through time are often guided by the push and pull of fire beneath the earth. Across the Pacific, volcanoes have shaped not just the land, but also the spirit of island cultures. Polynesian voyagers navigated by the silhouettes of volcanic peaks, charting courses using oral histories that recorded eruptions and the birth of new islands. In New Zealand, the Maori tell of mountains that once walked, fought, and found their place in the landscape. These stories explain both the shape of the land and the presence of volcanic hot springs. They're more than legend, they're encoded survival guides, teaching each generation how to read the signs of a living land. Today, scientists and elders alike look to these stories for clues about past eruptions, showing how myth and memory together can save lives. In places like Samoa or Vanuatu, volcanic craters are revered as sacred sites. Eruptions are interpreted as messages from ancestors, reminders of the delicate balance between people and the forces that sustain or destroy. Even now, as people build on volcanic slopes, old tales shape evacuation plans and communal memory. Africa's valleys and the Pacific's islands show that volcanoes aren't just agents of destruction, they are architects of identity and culture, influencing where people move, how they remember their origins, and how they adapt generation after generation to a world in motion. Which lost city or volcanic mystery fascinates you most? Drop your theories, favorite discoveries, or questions in the comments. I always love seeing where your curiosity leads.
For archaeologists, a layer of volcanic ash isn't just evidence of catastrophe, it's one of the most precise tools for understanding when, and sometimes even how, the past unfolded. When a volcano erupts, it scatters a unique fingerprint of ash, known as tephra, over huge distances. Tephra is the technical term for volcanic ash and debris, and each eruption creates its own barcode that helps scientists match events across continents. Each eruption produces a different mix of minerals and particles, creating time markers as distinctive as a barcode. This allows scientists to synchronize histories from sites far apart and to tell which moments in time were shared across continents. In East Africa, the footprints of ancient hominins, some of the oldest ever found, were preserved in volcanic mud nearly 4 million years ago. Today, those footprints are dated by the ash layers above and below them, giving us a window into a single day in deep prehistory. Across Europe, thin seams of volcanic ash found in bogs and lakes match up perfectly with layers in distant archaeological sites. This pins down when people migrated, built villages, or abandoned them for good. But the value of volcanic time capsules isn't just historical. Scientists also study the chemistry of ancient ash to reconstruct what the climate was like after each eruption. They examine how the sky darkened, how temperatures fell, and how communities scrambled to survive. These discoveries are more than academic. Modern disaster planners use similar data to anticipate the global effects of a future eruption, learning from the patterns written in ancient layers. Sometimes the only clues to great migrations or collapses are found in these traces. They offer proof of how intimately connected our world has always been. In the end, volcanic ash isn't just debris, it's a natural record keeper, linking stories from the past to the challenges and questions we still face today.
For every city revealed by archaeologists, hundreds more remain lost beneath volcanic ash or lava. Their stories are paused at the very moment disaster struck. Sometimes these lost worlds are stumbled upon by chance. A new road might expose ancient walls, or an earthquake could open a forgotten chamber. More often, what remains hidden is mapped only in the imaginations of scientists, locals, and storytellers. In volcanic regions, every hill or field might be the roof of an unexcavated temple, market, or home. What secrets are still out there, waiting beneath layers of ash? Could we be living above the next Pompeii, never knowing what history sleeps below our feet? Today, advances in technology have transformed the hunt for hidden histories. LiDAR scans slice through dense jungle and ash, revealing the outlines of vanished cities without disturbing a single stone.
Ground-penetrating radar picks up patterns beneath modern towns and farms, unearthing roads and houses that haven't seen sunlight in centuries. Sometimes, satellite images capture geometric shapes invisible to the naked eye, prompting new expeditions and discoveries that challenge old assumptions about where and how people once lived. But the process is a race against time. Volcanoes don't just preserve, they continue to threaten. The next eruption could erase evidence forever, sealing new layers above the old. Archaeologists work alongside local communities, blending scientific tools with oral tradition and legend to identify places most likely to yield secrets. Each discovery is a reminder that what we know is only a fragment of what once existed. Modern cities on volcanic land like Naples, Seattle, and Auckland are part of this ongoing story. The cycle continues, as our lives too may one day be sealed beneath ash, waiting for someone in the far future to wonder who we were. The greatest treasures may still lie just out of reach, beneath our feet, challenging us to keep searching and to keep asking new questions.
Every volcanic eruption is both an ending and a beginning. It is a force that has wiped away cities, rewritten myths, and silenced generations, yet has also preserved them better than any monument or memory. As we've seen from Kamchatka's awakening peaks to Pompeii's frozen streets, and from the lost city of Akrotiri to the icy vaults of Siberia, the story of volcanoes is never just about destruction. It's about the surprising ways nature saves the details of daily life, holding them in trust for the future. So what is the secret link between volcanoes and some of archaeology's greatest treasures? Here's the revelation. Volcanic ash isn't simply a grave marker, it's nature's most reliable archive. When a city is buried by ash, oxygen and water are sealed out, slowing decay so dramatically that even the most fragile materials like wood, food, painted walls, and the DNA within bones can survive for centuries or even millennia. This is a preservation power greater than any vault humanity has ever built. It's one we're only beginning to fully understand. That means the stories we're living today might be the discoveries of tomorrow. The next time the Earth erupts, our world could become someone else's time capsule. This isn't just ancient history. Today, scientists use what they learned from volcanic preservation to better protect our own cultural heritage and to anticipate how future eruptions might impact our lives. Modern cities and villages near active volcanoes live with the same risks and the same unexpected promise. What is lost today might become tomorrow's discovery, carrying our stories into another age. As you look at the restless land beneath your feet, remember that every layer of ash is a page in a living story. That story includes us. The greatest mysteries and the most human truths may still be waiting, sealed beneath the earth until the next generation is ready to find them. Want to revisit that wild story about Siberia's mummies or Pompeii's carbonized libraries? Just rewind a bit. There's more buried here than you think. If this journey through ash, ruins, and rediscovery sparked your curiosity, let us know what surprised you most, or share your own stories and questions in the comments below. Which volcano, hidden city, or ancient puzzle should we uncover next? If you want more stories where the past and present collide, be sure to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you'll never miss a new chapter. This is Armchair Archaeology, where history is never truly lost. It's just waiting to be found again. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, every story, no matter how deeply buried, is just waiting for the right moment and the right person to come to light.